Koken turned 70 on January 13th, and we want to celebrate Dave's 70th all week long by offering everyone 7 days of his all-access service for just $70 using coupon code KOKEN70 when checking out on a 7-day all-access pass. That's every play in every sport for 7 days, including any 5% releases for just $70, coming out to only $10 a day. Dave is a legend in this business, with many calling him the GOAT. Despite betting and winning in sports since the Black Sox scandal, he could be enjoying one of the best runs of his career since joining WagerTalk. Look at his lifetime numbers since joining the WagerTalk family exclusively. Number 1 in total profit, number 1 in college football, number 1 in golf, number 2 in NHL, and number 4 in MLB. Just like fine wine, Dave Koken is getting better with age. Happy birthday, Dave, and take advantage of code KOKEN70 and get 7 days for only $70.
Hey guys, welcome in on a very happy Friday to you now. It is the 13th of January, 2023, and limited card here tonight in college hoops, but some great conference matchups here. We're going to break down a few games. It's going to be a huge weekend across the sports betting landscape, of course, certainly in college basketball, and we'll see if we can't point you in the right direction, and we're going to do it with 3 of the best at WagerTalk.com here as we welcome back in Bryan Power in the house, as is Double R and 1L. And it is Dave Koken, who happens to be, well, turning another year here today. A celebration is in order as Mr. Koken here. Happy birthday, and to celebrate, I know your 5% in the NFL for this weekend, Wild Card Weekend, is still available, and it is still $2 right now at WagerTalk.com, guys. So you haven't missed out on anything. Head over to WagerTalk.com in celebration of Dave's birthday here today. Grab that for $2, and keep in mind the code KOKEN365. We'll tell you a little bit about that. KOKEN365. We'll tell you about that in just a minute here. But Bryan Power, welcome in, man. Happy Friday. If you're not out gallivanting with your brother from a different mother, Adam Trigger, apparently you're on this show. So what's going on here, man? What do you got in store for us? I'm just saying.
Oh
yeah, look at that. There we go. Yeah, there we got a nice little picture of him there. That's great.
Kiss him, coach.
Yeah, there it is. There's love at first sight.
The production team on this program never ceases to amaze me, man. What an unbelievable group of people. But, took in the Toledo-Kent State game this week. Had a nice winner on the under. There's nothing like going to a game, bet the under, and squirming in your seat for 2 hours when the teams like come out and score like 22 points in the first 3 minutes. But we got it home, and we also, last night, most impressive of all, that picture is distracting me, Joe. I'm trying to be a professional here.
Kiss him, coach.
But last night, if I could focus, first 5% college basketball play of the season, we hit it with San Diego minus 1.5. They were up 19 in the second half. They ended up winning by 3. Had they failed to cover that game, Joe, I don't think I would have showed up for work today, which, may have, maybe you were rooting for the other side then. In that case, but yeah, man, I can't complain. I guess. I mean, how can I not, man? With this picture, love is in the air, I guess.
Well, wait until the music comes on there. Good win though. 5% cashes either way last night. So getting it done, Bryan Power, as is Double R1L Steve Merrill, who continuing to roll. Merrill, NBA tonight, college hoops, and of course, Wild Card Weekend here. You got one or all 3 rolling right now at WagerTalk?
No, it's a great time to be playing all sports. We have almost half the playoff games going this weekend. 6 of the 13 through the Super Bowl go the next 3 days. So obviously you want to be on board. I will have my NFL Fade the Public video up later tonight. I will have a special discount for the rest of the NFL playoffs, a special promo code, and that video only. So check it out. just did the college basketball top 25 video for Saturday. That'll be up shortly here. Also, and don't forget, $2.99 gets you the rest of college hoops. No promo code needed. That's only $3.50 a day for the rest of the season. And I want to say happy birthday to Dave Koch. You know, as a coach of the Lady Spiders, the non-playoff, once again, Lady Spiders, Joe Ranieri, I've understood the officials here. You know, they signal the, the officials, they go 50, foul, and 5-0. And that's why you don't have any numbers above 5. But I don't know how to do Dave's birthday. You'd have to go 7-0, right? Or it's getting a little complicated here. I don't know how the NBA does it. The NBA allows 8s and 9s. So anyway, happy birthday, Dave Kochen.
We clap it out at this point here. Dave, happy birthday. That 5% best bet in the NFL is available for $2. I had mentioned the code Koken365. That's going to give folks a pretty big discount here for a full year all access package. I think it's about $3 a day, and you get everything. All access means just that, all access, using that code Koken365. Do you have anything outside of the NFL you're ready to roll with tonight? Oh, wait, is he muted? Oh, you might be on a mute there, Dave.
All right.
There you go. You're
Look,
good.
Easy does it, all right? I'm old. Give me a break.
Technology.
If you come up with the signs, me, 7-0.
0.
7.
There we go.
Meanwhile, my body is giving me this signal, basically.
Number 1.
Yeah, in my mind. Well, my mind's still working. The good news is I'll start getting Social Security checks now.
Yeah. Ooh. Yes.
I mean, I've been paying in all these years. Nice to get some of that back.
Yep.
Parlay it.
I don't even know what I'm getting. Whatever it is, I'll spend it on something, I guess. It won't be women, I can tell you that. They don't get any at this point. It's like, okay, you got your share over the years.
Yeah.
I'm keeping the rest. Okay. I'll get the cat some toys. Anyway, that's it. Let's talk some basketball.
All right, let's talk some basketball and plug the women you paid for them 3 times over, Dave. I think we all have at this point. So we're going to go on Nevada versus Utah State here tonight. West Coast will start late here, 11 o'clock Eastern time with that total of 143.5. Boy, oh boy, Utah State can shoot the 3. Can't defend anybody, but they can shoot the 3 here. So should be an interesting one here. Nevada coming off of that loss in the last game. But what do you think here, Brian Power? The home team for you, or you're gonna go with Utah State in this one?
Well, what I think, probably like a lot of people think, is Nevada did not deserve to cover that game against San Diego State. Never led, down 17 at the half, went down 22 with less than 10 minutes to go. But you get a final score of 74-65 as 9.5-point dogs. But a word of caution to those who may be looking to fade Nevada simply out of spite here. They'd won 6 in a row before that loss to San Diego State. And someone's betting them here because the line went from -1 to -2 pretty quick. Wolfpack, they're holding teams to 65 points per game this season. Joe, you mentioned Utah State struggles on the defensive end, not so much Nevada. But Utah State, also, as you mentioned, very good offensively. 19th in the country in efficiency, 6th in effective field goal percentage. They do not turn the ball over much, and they play fast, 51st in adjusted tempo. So that brings me to how I would look to play this one. Utah State, 11-5 over in all games this year, 3-0 on the road, 3-0 their last 3 overall. Nevada's an over team as well, including 5-1 their last 6 overall. And one final thing to keep in mind, guys, in Utah State's only conference loss, which was on the road, they gave up 82 at Boise State. If you couldn't tell already, I lean towards the over in this Mountain West Conference matchup Friday night.
All right, gonna look to go up and over here. Dave, you leaning one way or the other in this one here in a tightly contested?
No, I want to see what Utah. Now, Ryland Jones is not. Actually, hasn't been having a great season. So I don't know how much they're going to miss him. You can make an argument that with Ashworth getting more minutes now, they might be a better team. I mean, they really look good the other night. So it's kind of a wait and see for me. If you look at the Ken Palm individual player breakdowns, Jones is way down the list. So according to them, or to him, or whatever that is, it's not that much of a loss. I'm not so sure, though. I want to see how it plays out. I have Utah State as the better team, so maybe you can make a case there's value there with them than the underdog, but I don't trust it. And I think this is more a learning experience game for me as far as what the Utah State lineup looks like without Jones and whether it'll have an impact when he comes back or not. So I'm going to sit it out. Also, Nevada coming off that first conference loss. You never know how a team's going to react to that. So I think it's a good stay-away game.
All right, gonna take a few notes there watching this one here tonight. Both of these teams is a pretty good test here now, Merrill. As far as what we get here tonight, is it the home team or are you leaning towards bombs away with Utah State?
Yeah, it's a shame that it's Utah State because on the surface, this would be a pretty good setup for Nevada. As Dave said, they're off their first conference loss on the road against a good San Diego State team. I talked about them on the show on Tuesday when we were talking about that game. And yeah, I wouldn't, discredit Nevada for that loss. And I love using Nevada at home in general because of the altitude. And this is a team that's 8-0 at home. They've only failed to cover once at home all season against the spread. But you have to throw all that out the window because Utah State is also familiar with the altitude, obviously. So it's not as much of a home court advantage here. And I do think Utah State is the better overall team in the dog role here. And they're definitely the better offensive team, shooting 49% of the season, Nevada 43.5%. Both teams have played pretty tough schedules this year, but Utah State's been much better offensively. And as you mentioned, great three-point shooters, 43% overall, one of the best in the nation, 39% away from home. So Utah State can shoot the ball. Nevada has defended the three well at home, but once again, some of that's an altitude factor, which won't be the case here. And I will say, you guys said Utah State's defense was shaky. I'm not so sure. I mean, look, they play really fast, one of the 50th fastest teams in the country. So the points per game you can't really look at. They allow only 41.5% shooting against teams that average 44.5%. Where their defense has been weak this year, though, is three-point defense. 36% allowed against teams that average on about 34.5%. But Nevada is actually slightly below average shooting the three this year. So I think it's a good matchup for Utah State. And I don't think Nevada's going to have their normal strong home court here. So I'd probably lean towards the dog, who I think is the better team.
All right. Leaning towards the dog here tonight. Utah State, 11 o'clock Eastern time tip in that one. We'll move on to the Big Ten, and always a fun battle here. Michigan State taking on Illinois. 6.5 is the number here. The total 137. This is going to be at 9 o'clock Eastern time. Illinois handled Nebraska rather easily there, Dave, in the last game here. Michigan State got hauled back, and they look like a different team. So what do you think we're going to get in this matchup tonight?
Well, Michigan State is, I love shot quality. I don't care what their game projections are. When I have different things that I look at there and find them very useful. And Michigan State is fascinating. They've had 9 unexpected results so far in the season based on the SQ data. And they're 8-1 in those games. In other words, they should have been 1-8. And they're 8-1. So this is where I have a bit of a dispute with a lot of analytics majors, if you will, who will look at Michigan State and say, you got to bet against them because they're a candidate for negative regression. I don't disagree with that. They are. But I would certainly not do it until they actually start to show some of that negative regression, which they're not doing. There is no way I'm going to try and get in front of a train that's maybe they're getting lucky, but to me, they're either go with or stay away. And I'd rather go with right now. They've got luck on their side, and until that luck runs out, they're a go with team. So give me Michigan State with the points in this game against Illinois.
Feels like a lot, Brian. 6.5 is where we're at now. Is Is that something you're willing to lay here with the home team, or you think Michigan State not a train you want to get in front of?
Yeah, just on top of what Dave just had to say there, another reason that you don't want to probably fade Michigan State for the full game is the way that this number's been bet up. I think the number's too high. I would not play Illinois. I would not want to lay 6.5 with Illinois for the full game. But what about the first half, Joe? Illinois is a team that they've turned it around some. Nice wins over Wisconsin. You mentioned Nebraska. And at home, the Illini, they've been good this year, 8-1, and they're outscoring teams by almost 15 points per game before halftime. Now, most of those opponents aren't as good as Michigan State. But here, let's look at the spot for Michigan State here. They're off back-to-back hard-fought wins by 6 over Michigan, by 4 over Wisconsin. And this is the first time all year they're playing back-to-back true road games. They shot 52.3% in Madison Tuesday night, including what I would call an uncharacteristic 7 of 13 from 3. Obviously, you're not going to hit over 50% from long range in every game, and certainly Michigan State usually doesn't. Also, they were plus 11 in free throw attempts in that game, and in a close game, that was the difference. I don't see those numbers playing out here. And Illinois not only holds teams to 32% shooting from 3, but 42.4% from 2, and that's the 9th best number in the country. So I like Illinois in the first half. You can get a better number. It's 3.5. I would lay that, and they should go into the break with a nice advantage.
That 6.5 number, Merrill, is a number that I worry when I have a team that can't shoot 70% from the free throw line, which is what we have with Illinois right now. They are abysmal from the free throw line here. Can you trust them to win by margin in this one?
Yeah, you stole my talking point, Judd. That's exactly what I was going to bring up. And I was going to say, I like where Brian Power is going with the first half play if you do like Illinois, because that's exactly why you probably look first half versus full game, because Illinois does struggle to shoot free throws. And that's also probably a reason, Brian, why they've been a better first half team, maybe, statistically, than the point spread overall, because as you know, Joe, that 6 to 7 range, there's no key numbers in basketball. Obviously in football, 3 and 7 are king. But there's some, chatter over the years that 7 is somewhat of a key number, like in the NBA, maybe college hoops as well, because that's when teams do and don't foul anymore in regular season games. That's when they call off the dogs. So it did catch my attention that this line went from 4.5 up to 6.5. And I think it also touches on something Dave was saying, is that I think a lot of the sharps out there, we all kind of look at the same thing, whether it's, shot quality, Ken Palm, and they do look at those luck ratings. And once again, Michigan's almost 200 spots higher in the luck rating than Illinois this year. And I think that's why, these sharps starting to back these teams. Remember last year, though, like Dave said, don't want to get in front of these speeding trains, these speeding bullets, or try to catch the falling knives the other way. Like Providence last year, everybody kept talking about how lucky Providence was, but they kept covering week after week until they got bumped fairly early in the NCAA tournament. TCU Horned Frogs, college football, they were pretty fortunate in a lot of games this year, and they actually got by Michigan in what I thought was a misleading win. Couple thousand people on YouTube and Twitter told me otherwise, but I got my revenge a week later as the biggest blowout loss in bowl history.
Yep.
I didn't realize that, by the way, until a couple of days later. That was the biggest blowout in any bowl game in history, not just the finals. But the thing is, you can be wrong a lot until you're right. So I think Dave's onto something. I'm not looking to fade Michigan State either, and that line looks a little inflated. And then you add on the fact, like you said, they don't shoot free throws well. I think it's Illinois first half or Michigan game full game. Maybe even catch a middle and do both and try to get lucky.
All right, good stuff there, guys. Should be a great one here for the Big Ten. How about a Big East battle tonight too, as well as Butler taking on Nova. Both come in to this game here with a couple of defeats. Jay Wright ain't walking through that door anytime soon. 132.5 is what you got for a total there, Dave. It's kind of a pick'em price, but. Yeah, it hasn't been a great start here with the new era outside of Jay Wright. What do you think we get tonight?
I wonder how many messages there are on Jay Wright's phone that goes something like, how much do you want to come back? Okay, we'll give you whatever you want. We'll rename the school Jay Wright Nova University, or whatever. They're just not the same team. And that's not a knock on the new coach. Because Jay Wright, he's a great basketball coach. And they really miss him. That said, I think they can win this I think they ought to win this. They've still got better personnel than Butler. One thing Nova's doing well, they get in the foul line. Just go ahead and put the points on the board. What is it, 85%? They're shooting from the foul line. That's amazing. I can't trust them with a bet because they're finding ways not to get the wins. But they are a superior team to Butler on paper. And I'll give Nova the edge here for an opinion.
All right, leaning Nova. They have been a little short-handed injury-wise here so far this year, and kind of hope that they, they'll get it together a little bit later. But Hinkle Fieldhouse, not a easy place to play as a road team there, Merrill. Do you trust Butler, though, to be able to get back on track at home here at a pick'em price, or you think Nova's going to handle business tonight?
Maybe we can do a package deal and Butler can get Brad Stevens back. They probably wouldn't mind having him as well.
That's a good
coaching.
point.
This would have been a hell of a matchup a decade ago. To put in perspective, and it's hard to say, the coach makes that much of a difference. Obviously, I think it's 80% recruiting, at the high level in college basketball. But where I do think the coaching has made a difference, at least Jay Wright was always a defensive guy. They're 100 points lower right now than last year's Villanova team on the defensive adjusted efficiency. They're like 20 points lower offensively, like 9 to 30 something, but they're like from the 20s to the 120s on defense this year. So that's been the difference. And I do think that's a atmosphere, a mindset, a culture that's different now with Villanova. So, they're surprisingly only 9-8 to the over. You would think they would have more overs this year because they play very slow still. They're still one of the 10, 15 slowest teams in the country, just like they were last year. Half-court style, which obviously is when Brad Stevens and Butler made those runs to the finals. They did that as well. Butler has not done it in recent seasons, but they still play slower than average this year. So we'll see. I mean, Butler, the better defensive team. Villanova, the better offensive team. Two teams that play slow pace. Total has moved slightly down 0.5 point today. We have seen a little bit of money come in on Villanova as a road favorite. I'll lean under here. I think at some point Villanova does probably start playing better defense this year.
Well, Villanova, fifth highest three-point attempts per game, I believe. They're chucking it up there, Bryan, but hasn't been a great conversion. So, what do you think here? Butler at home make life a little difficult here for Dixon and company, or do you think Villanova is going to be able to handle it here at Hinkle Fieldhouse?
Well, desperation is the name of the game here, guys. Nova, back-to-back losses, dropped 4 or 5. Butler, they've dropped back-to-back games as well, and 5 of 7, interestingly enough. Georgetown, of course, we are talking about the Big East here, accounts for Nova's only win and one of Butler's 2 wins during that stretch. And this is sort of a weakness-on-weakness matchup, kind of going back to what the guys were saying. Butler, offensively, a mess. 56 points per game in those back-to-back losses. Both were on the road, though. We'll double back to that in a minute. Villanova, they've given up 81.5 points per game in their back-to-back losses. And I think the key, as it is oftentimes in college basketball, coming down 3-point shooting in this one. Nova, not good at defending the 3-point arc. Butler, they're okay at defending the 3-point arc, especially at home. And no surprise, Butler shoots a lot better at home than they do on the road. For that, I'm going to give them a slight lean. As I just mentioned, Joe, their back-to-back losses were on the road. I think it was St. John's and Seton Hall, if memory serves me correct. Here at Hinkle Fieldhouse, they're 7-2. So the number, as Steve mentioned, has flipped. They're now a dog. You only need an outright win there. I would lean towards Butler in this game.
They did say, I think the last message I saw, Justin Moore, who was a big part of this Villanova team, bit of an Achilles in last year's tournament there that caused them to miss. They hope to have him back at the end of the month here for Villanova. So that would certainly help them down the stretch here. We'll see if they can get it done tonight, though, in a must-win sort of situation against Butler on the road. And there's a few other really cool matchups here tonight, conference matchups, some mid-major action going on. A lot of different ways to be able to look at the card here tonight. We'll see if these guys have one that they like a little bit more than the rest. And Bryan Power, we'll come to you, man. Talk to me. Which one of these games here on the card tonight are you leaning towards?
Okay. First of all, just wanted to forgot to bring this up at the open. Did Joe. I was distracted at the time, but that's
Shocker.
okay. We're back in the groove here. Last night's 5% win. That was our fourth straight 5% win overall. We are going for 5 straight this weekend in the NFL. Have a 5% bet already up for Wild Card Weekend. And today is the last day you can take advantage of the 3-day special offer. Just $39 gets you all plays for today, Saturday, which will be a loaded card, and then Sunday as well. So please take advantage. Head over to my page right now for today's best bet. Somebody once said, if at first you don't succeed, dust yourself off and try again. And that is what we are doing today with our good friends at St. Peter's. Because last week on the program, didn't get it done for us, Joe. They were covering most of the way against Siena, but kind of fell apart late. Needless fouling, I would say, as someone who had St. Peter's. And that cost them the cover. So they are now 0-8 against the number on the road this season. But if this sounds familiar, it should, because I will take them plus the points this week against a team that I think is at the peak of the market. That would be Quinnipiac, who, my goodness, they just thumped Iona on Sunday. 81-58 as a 6.5-point dog. That's 3 straight wins and covers for Quinnipiac. And St. Peter's is 0-3 straight up and against the number. Its last 3. This is just the way I do it. It's buy low, sell high. It's a bigger number than we got last week against Siena. And the difference between this matchup and the Siena matchup is these teams have already played once this year. And St. Peter's won at home as a 5-point dog, 63-56. I just think this is too many points. Give me the 10 with the Peacocks. Let's get it right this week.
All right. Expecting St. Peter's show up here tonight. Take the points there. How about it, Merrill? Which one of these games are you looking at here tonight?
Look at Bryan Power giving his lover, Adam Trigger, a free Metro Atlantic play here on the show. I love that.
Oh, man.
There we go.
Yeah, you see the way he said Siena? I didn't want to say, he lit up like a Christmas tree. It was very good.
I'm going to give another free play for the MAC. In honor of their relationship. One for each of them. Bryan can have one. Trigger can have this one. They can figure it out later when they talk. But we're going to look at another free play here for Friday night college hoops. Friday the 13th. Don't be scared. Lots of winners on the card tonight and this weekend at WagerTalk.com. I've got a strong NBA best bet tonight. I've got my NFL playoff best bets Saturday, Sunday, Monday, all posted now. And don't forget NFL playoff edition. Playoffs will be available, Fade the Public style, on Friday night. Also, college basketball top 25 video on WagerTalk TV as well. Hit subscribe, hit that bell for instant alerts. Let's look at a free play in the Metro Atlantic for Friday night. One of my favorite premises in all handicapping any sport for decades now is to play good teams in focus situations, especially against really bad teams. And all the boxes are checked tonight with Iona over Fairfield. Fairfield's one of the worst teams in the nation. Iona's pretty good at both ends of the court. I rank them top 100, both offense and defensive team. And after 4 straight wins and covers, they had a bit of a stinker at Quinnipiac last week, losing that game outright by 23 points as a road favorite. They shot a season low 29.5% from the field, but they've had 4 days off back at home here to get ready. Not much of a look ahead on Sunday against a mediocre Rider team. They'll take out some aggression on Fairfield, and they're not going to be able to help but beat them bad because Fairfield is a terrible offensive team, shooting just 39.5%. One of the worst three-point shooting teams in the country, less than 28%, which is going to make it tough for the backdoor cover. And then add in the fact Iona's got one of the best three-point defenses in the entire nation. Total mismatch tonight, and the home team will be focused. Iona minus 15.5 and a steamroller blowout of free college basketball play for Friday night. Don't forget NBA, NFL best bets, and a lot of videos for this weekend. Steve Merrill, WagerTalk.com.
All right, good stuff there. Iona for Steve Merrill. And just a quick reminder, guys, it is Dave Kogan's birthday today, and that 5% best bet in the NFL for this weekend is available at his page for $2. Can't go wrong with that. No coupon, no nothing. $2 right now at his page at WagerTalk.com. And what are you leaning towards tonight here, Dave, on the card?
A couple of quick notes. At St. Peter's game last week, they're down 8. They fouled with 4 seconds left in the game. Why? Okay. So thanks a lot for that one. You neglected to mention when we talked about the Villanova game at Butler, Hinkle Fieldhouse is one of the few things on earth that's actually older than I am. It's built in 1928. Why you still play? I mean, I get the history part, but 1928, building's almost 100 years old. It probably smells. Really, because buildings that old usually do. So I get the sentimental part, but get the money together and get a new building. Best bet of the show. I know the regression stuff is there, but until it happens, I'm not going against Michigan State. In fact, I will recommend going with them. Michigan State and the 6.5 or whatever it is against Illinois.
All right, you're going to take them points there. Our friends from the Gold Sheet, they too have a play of the day they're looking at, and it's going to be in that Nevada game taking on Utah State. They are actually going to lay those 2 points here with Nevada, and they're pointing out that since Christmas, Utah State, well, they played in Hawaii, Colorado, Idaho, Utah, and now they've got to go to Nevada. So this is a heck of a schedule so far for Utah State. They've only played 2 home games in the last month, so maybe a little road weary coming into this one. Nevada also has the tougher schedule, and does certainly think they're going to be better on the board. So our friends at Gold Sheet, they're going to lean with Nevada here tonight against Utah State. And, of course, don't forget to visit them over at goldsheet.com. Always great write-ups and, of course, data for you guys to be able to use for your handicapping. That's goldsheet.com. All right, I'm going to say a big Friday shout-out to Bryan Leonard, our good friend here on the show. And I'm going to go with his Akron Zips here tonight, what I think is going to be an absolute blowout game against Eastern Michigan. I think it's also one of the televised games here tonight on ESPNU. They're 8-0 at home, and the atmosphere is going to be pretty electric there. They should have no problem winning this thing by margin. It'll be over in the first. It's going to be very difficult for Eastern Michigan, who's giving up at least 80 points a game. I think Akron will get there no problem and win this going away. Brian Power, one more time to recap here, guys. He's going to go with St. Peter. He's going to take those 10 points now. Merrill going with the Mac at laying just over 2 touchdowns with Iona to get it done. Kogan ain't get in front of that Michigan State train. He'll take the 6.5 tonight against Illinois. I'm going to go with the Zips here. I'll lay those 13.5, no problem, while the Gold Sheet, they are going to lay the 2 with Nevada taking on Utah State at home. And again, a quick reminder, guys, if you head over to WagerTalk.com, you've got a couple of opportunities to grab some best bets heading into this weekend, including Dave Koken's 5% best bet in the NFL for $2. And keep an eye, guys. Remember, Koken 365 is the code. Use that at checkout. You get a full year. That's right, a full year of all access to Dave Koken and his plays, less than $3 a day. Use that code Koken365 at checkout. And I do believe Brian Power also, he's got a 3-day all access package for $39 today, being the last day to take advantage of that. That also includes a 5% best bet he's got coming up this weekend. And Merrill told you all about it there, guys. There is no reason not to hop on board now. NBA, college hoops, NFL playoffs here. And yes, Merrill, before we know it, Major League Baseball pitchers and catchers will be reporting. Looking forward to that as well here, guys. And that'll do it for us here this week. Another weekend in the books. It's a huge weekend in college hoops. Come back and join us on Monday. We'll recap what happened. Take a look, of course, at the card on Monday, and hopefully point you in the right direction here on a couple of winners. Once again, happy birthday, Dave Koken, guys. Make sure you take advantage of that. I know Adam Trigger wasn't here, Brian, but that's all right. I know he's in your heart. Merrill, we'll see you again next week. Guys, best of luck with all the plays this weekend. We'll talk to you on Monday. Good luck.
With friends.
Dave Koken turned 70 on January 13th, and we want to celebrate Dave's 70th all week long by offering everyone 7 days of his all-access service for just $70 using coupon code KOKEN70 when checking out on a 7-day all-access pass. That's every play in every sport for 7 days, including any 5% releases for just $70, coming out to only $10 a day. Dave is a legend in this business, with many calling him the GOAT. Despite betting and winning in sports since the Black Sox scandal, he could be enjoying one of the best runs of his career since joining WagerTalk. Look at his lifetime numbers since joining the WagerTalk family exclusively. Number 1 in total profit, number 1 in college football, number 1 in golf, number 2 in NHL, and number 4 in MLB. Just like fine wine, Dave Koken is getting better with age. Happy birthday, Dave, and take advantage of code KOKEN70 and get 7 days for only $70.